Hello students, in last lecture we have studied about the health, then immunity and types of immunity. In last lecture we have studied there are the two types of the immunity, innate immunity and the acquired immunity. In this lecture we are going to study the details about the innate immunity and the acquired immunity. First we will study the innate immunity. Here innate immunity means inborn immunity we have studied. Here we are going to study the barriers of the innate immunity. Barrier means these are the structures which prevents the entry of the microorganism inside the body. These barriers are: first is the anatomical barrier, second is the physiological barrier, third is the phagocytic barrier, and next is the fourth is the inflammatory barriers. First we will study about the anatomical barriers. Here anatomical barriers means these are the structures which prevent the entry of the pathogens inside our body. In that, first example is the skin. We know that our total body is covered by the skin, and this skin prevent the entry of microorganism in our body, as well as the secretions of the skin like the sweat and the sebum. They also have the antimicrobial properties and they prevent the entry of bacteria inside the body. Now second structure is the eyes. Eyes, the lacrimal glands of the eyes, they secretes the tears, and that tears has the particular antimicrobial enzymes which prevent the entry of the bacteria inside the eyes. Now second or third point, that are the mucous membranes. Mucous membrane of the respiratory tract. Mucous membrane of the respiratory tract secrete the mucus, and that mucus traps the microorganism, so prevent the entry of microorganism into the lungs. Next is the mucous membrane of the digestive tract. The digestive tract is also lined by the mucous membrane which prevent the entry of the pathogens inside the digestive system. And next is the urinogenital tract. Urinogenital tract prevent Urinogenital tract is also lined by the mucous membrane which prevent the entry of the microorganism inside the body. Thus, these are the anatomical barriers which prevent the entry of the pathogens inside the body. Next is the physiological barriers. Physiological barriers means these are the processes occurring inside the body after the entry of pathogens in our body. In that, first is the fever. Fever means rise in body temperature. As soon as pathogens enter in our body temperature rises, which stops or inhibits the growth of the microorganism. Second point of the physiological barrier is the creating acidic environment. Here two structures in our body, stomach and the vagina, that creates the very low temperature. First, stomach, it has the HCl, so it creates the highly acidic pH, and that because of that highly acidic pH, microorganisms killed, which come along the food. Next point is the vagina. Vagina is the part of female reproductive system, and it has very acidic or highly acidic pH, which also retards the growth of the microorganism. Next point of the physiological barrier is the chemical mediators. Chemical mediators are the secretions of our body which prevent the growth of the microorganism. In that, first example is the lysozyme. Lysozyme is the antimicrobial enzyme or antibacterial enzyme which is present in the tears as well as in the saliva. And that lysozyme which cleaves the bacterial cell wall, means which dissolve the bacterial cell wall, so bacteria are killed. Now second chemical mediator is the interferons. Interferons are actual secretions of virally infected cells, and that secretions show antiviral activities. Means first the virally infected cell secrete the interferons, and that has the antiviral properties which makes surrounding cell resistance to the viral infection. And next chemical mediator is the complements and the antibacterial peptide that are also prevent the growth of the microorganism in our body. Now third barrier of the innate immunity is the phagocytosis. Phagocytosis means engulfing the pathogens and destroying it. Here we can see that the phagocytic cell in our body engulf the pathogen. They create the vacuoles in the cell, and on that pathogens many lysosomic hydrolytic enzymes are released. Because of that hydrolytic enzymes, the body of pathogens is digested, and the remaining debris are released from the cell to the outside. This process is called as the phagocytosis. There are some phagocytic cell in our body like the neutrophil, macrophages, eosinophil and dendritic cells. They also help in the phagocytosis. Now, fourth barrier of innate immunity is the inflammatory barrier. This inflammatory barrier acts during the infection and the tissue injury. And the first sign of the inflammatory response is redness, pain and swelling. And along with that, some chemicals are also released. In that, acute phase proteins are activated, and second is the vasodilators are released. Vasodilator like the histamines and prostaglandins are released, so that the WBCs can squeeze out from the blood vessels, and they kills the pathogens. And the acute phase proteins, they can cause the tissue repair, as well as they promote the repair of the inflammatory lesions, and they enhance the host resistance. These are some acute phase proteins. These are the positive acute phase proteins, and these are the negative acute phase proteins. Negative acute phase proteins decreases the inflammation. Now, up to this we have studied the innate immunity. Now we are going to study about the acquired immunity. In last lecture we have studied acquired immunity or adaptive immunity. It is acquired by our body during your lifespan. It has four basic properties. First is the diversity, means it can recognize diverse forms of the antigens. Second is the antigenic specificity. In earlier lecture, we have also studied what do you mean by the antigenic specificity. Means in adaptive immunity, special type of the antibodies are released in response to each antigen. That is the antigenic specificity. Next is the memory. Adaptive immunity or the acquired immunity retains the memory. When the same pathogen affect or attack on our body, then second response it is more quicker and more stronger as compared to first, so they retain the memory. And last and most important point, that the adaptive immune system can recognize between self and the non-self substances. Means adaptive immunity or acquired immunity becomes active only in case of the non-self materials, only for foreign materials. So this property is very important. Next, types of acquired immunity. Here, acquired immunity is of two types: active immunity and passive immunity. Active immunity means our body performs or our body produces actual antibodies in response to antigens. In passive immunity, we get prepared antibodies. Means our body do not develop its own antibodies, but we get prepared antibodies. That is the passive immunity. Now, active immunity, it is of two types: natural active immunity and artificial active immunity. Natural activity means after the infection, our body produces antibodies in response to antigen. That is the natural active immunity. But in artificial immunity, antibodies are produced in response to inactivated antigens, and it works as the vaccines for our body. Now, in case of the passive immunity, there are again two types: natural passive immunity and artificial passive immunity. In natural passive immunity, we get the prepared antibodies through the placenta of mother as well as through the breast milk. That is the natural passive immunity. And in artificial passive immunity, we get the antibodies from the medicines or the antibody injections, like the antibody injections like the rabies vaccine. So this is the type of the acquired immunity. Now here we will study the difference between active immunity and passive immunity. as we studied in last slide, the here host or the our body produces antigens. Body produces antibodies actively against the antigens. Here we receive, or our body receive, the antibodies passively, means our body do not produce the antibodies, we get the prepared antibodies. Second, this active immunity, it is induced by infection, and here there is no any activation of the immunity, we get directly ready-made antibodies. Now here active immunity is very effective and it is less effective. Here lag period is there. We have studied earlier what is the lag period. It is the time period between infection and the production of the antibodies. Now this passive immunity is the immediate immunity, as we have directly injected the antibodies. Now next active immunity, there is a memory, but here there is no any memory. Now next point, booster effect is there, means as there is a memory, second infection or the second counteract of the infection is more quicker and more stronger than the first. Second response is more quicker and more stronger than the first. Here as there is a no memory, there is no any booster effect. So this is the difference between active immunity and passive immunity. Now here we can see the direct examples of natural active immunity and artificial active immunity, natural passive immunity, artificial passive immunity. Here this is the example of measles, means once we are infected by the disease measles, then our body get means resist against the measles, means in lifetime we cannot never infected by, we never get infection of the measles. So this is the natural active immunity. In second, artificial active immunity, it is the example of the vaccination, means artificially we get protection against the disease like the polio, BCG, etc. This is the example of the artificial active immunity, that is the vaccination. Now natural passive immunity, here we get the prepared antibodies from the mother's placenta as well as the breast milk. And next is the artificial passive immunity, means injections of the gamma globulins. Example, the injection against the snake venom as well as the rabies vaccine. These are the examples of the artificial passive vaccination. So here again we can see the natural immunity acquired by the infection, artificial active immunity acquired by the vaccination, natural passive immunity acquired by the maternal antibodies, and artificial passive immunity is acquired by the monoclonal antibodies. So today we have studied about the innate immunity as well as the acquired immunity. In innate immunity, we have studied the different barriers like the anatomical barrier, physiological barrier, then phagocytic barrier and the inflammatory barrier. And in acquired immunity, we have studied properties of the acquired immunity like the memory, specificity, discrimination between self and non-self, and the diversity. And in types, we have studied there are the two types, active immunity and the passive immunity. Then again active immunity are of two types, natural and artificial, and passive immunity is again of two types, natural and artificial. So in this lecture we have studied details about the innate immunity and the acquired immunity. Now in next lecture we are going to study about the cells involved in the acquired immunity. Okay, thank you.